Hi everyone, Mark here from Digital Groove Online. Welcome back to this week's video. I thought I would talk more around ambient pads this week and how we create atmospheres in our tracks. In a few videos previously, we've talked about how to create atmosphere in your tracks. But one thing that I did overlook that I find really helpful, particularly with pads and creating that really spacious effect, is using your return channels and recording them back into your mix and how that might sound overall in your mix and how that might fit a little bit better. What I mean by that is I'm going to demonstrate that now. I've taken in a MIDI file here and just picked up a random, pad sound inside Serum. I'm going to play it in its basic form. Then I'm going to apply an effect to it, which is just the wet signal, and blend it together, which we normally do. But I'm going to take it one step further again, and we're going to re-record that wet signal only back into the mix. And I just think it sounds a hell of a lot more lush and would sit a little bit better in the mix if we build and stack a few more of those up. But we'll listen to the actual MIDI file first and foremost, and then I'm going to put the return channel on, and then after that we'll record it back in and we'll layer that up once or twice, and let's see what the outcome sounds like. So here it is. Quite a random chord progression, it sounds okay. But on the return channel over here, I have created a Valhalla shimmer just after this delay unit here. It's not a massive delay, it's only like 25% there, 25%. But what I did do with the Valhalla shimmer, we've set that to 100%, but I've set the feedback here. And this is the important thing when you're recording it back in. We can manipulate the feedback and create multiple layers of octaves, and it sounds really cool. So what we'll do first of all is we'll keep that down, and I'm going to play it again and just pop the reverb pop the Serum here into the reverb and delay here. And let's just wash that out a little bit more. So let's hit play. And we'll start to feed that into the Valhalla unit. It's starting to fatten up that sound. There's it off. That's it on. And I've just hit stop, and that reverb takes a little bit of time to go away. So let's start hitting record here, and we'll record that audio into here. So let's just put, actually I'm not even going to resample that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to resample it from the actual delay and Valhalla unit here. So I'm going to take the audio from the shimmer back into here. So let's hit record and listen to it. And we can see that that's starting to record it back into the channel. Sorry, I forgot to hit the record on button there. And that's recording the wet signal back into the project. But if we go into the Valhalla unit itself and start playing with the feedback, and we're just going to hit stop on that and let it die out. So what I would do now is we'll just turn this off, take this off so that it's not taking the feedback from the return channel. Turn that down as well. I'm going to stretch this back out now, and we have a couple of bars or loops of the recording as it came in. So let's just listen to it on its own. Let's see. So there we have a loop twice as long, and if we hit play on this again, it sounds nice, but this sounds way better. And how can we stack that up now? So let's go back into MIDI clip itself, and we'll cycle through a few more sounds. Let's feed that into the unit. Just took the distortion off there. So that's being fed in 100%. And we'll do another audio file here. And we'll take the audio from the wet signal and we'll record that in as well. And we'll record that 2 times, just over 2 times. Back to here where it starts and take off that feed from the wet signal. So it's starting to sound really atmospheric, and if I go in here now and we take off, and we're just going to use this as a bass. Let's go. Let's remove that. So we've got a drier signal in there now, and if we play the drier signal now with the wet signals, it sounds nice and melodic. So we can go in there into this audio file now as well, and we can EQ this out. I quite like the higher end of that, so let's EQ some of the lower end out. Very nice, very haunting. Just loop that up and we'll change the bass notes now. We'll close that filter down a little bit as well. Maybe add a little bit of LFO to it. Maybe do the same with the bass. When you start adding more samples in now, I think it sounds a lot more atmospheric than just throwing a reverb in over the dry signal. When you bring that back into your project as a completely wet signal, it has a nice effect. I think, you know, we'll see. I'm just creating a bit of movement now on that as well by using, you know, LFOs and filters. I just think it's an exciting way to be a little bit more creative inside your project. You can stack up those sounds recorded back in and just put, you know, a few more normal drier elements in the mix. And I just like the way it sounds now. We can actually pan those a little bit left and right. Just a bit of stereo separation. So there you go, just a different way of thinking about putting atmospheres into your tracks by getting the sound that you want out of your chords, putting a shimmer or a huge reverb on the return track, and then recording that back in the wet signal only, and then EQing that, panning it, and maybe adding a bit of automation to the actual wet signal. And I think the wet signals sound really, really decent as well if you layer them right. So that one's a little bit more to the left, that one's a little bit more to the right. Just when you play the two of them together, you can hear that stereo separation, and it sounds a lot more atmospheric than just the original sound that come out of the synthesizer itself. Okay, so not too long of a video this week. Try it out for yourself and let me know how you get on. Until next week.